welcome to a special edition of The Buzz. I'm your host, Dion Spires. It's October and Halloween is right around the corner, so I paid a visit to Campfire Sunshine, Central Florida, right here in Lakeland, to see one of Polk County's most frightening Halloween haunts. Check out what some of these participants had to say about it. I'm here at Campfire Sunshine in Lakeland with Isabel and Zach, Connor and Emily, Hassana and Jack, Hannah, Mary and Cheyenne, Ashley, Alex and Jillian, talking a little bit about their upcoming haunted house. How long have you guys been involved with the haunted houses here at Campfire?
I started last year, so I guess a year, because this is my second year. Okay.
I've been doing haunted houses for all 4 years that I've been doing Campfire.
Okay.
So this is our second year of doing a haunted house, because we weren't old enough to do the other ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we weren't old enough, so this is our second year.
So what's the age that you have to be to start doing them?
It's from 6th grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
So around like 12-ish.
Mm-hmm. So with the haunted house in particular, how many haunted houses have each of you been involved with?
Okay, so fully 2 years. The first year I was involved for like the first 2 meetings, but I moved in with my dad, so I couldn't help. But that's probably one of my regret I have, because it was so much fun. I wish I could have been involved more than I am now. But yeah, last year I was more involved, and then this year, this is my 3rd year, and I look forward to being involved even more.
So this will be my 4th year with the haunted house. It's pretty cool.
I did tear down last year, but This is my first year actually working on the haunted house.
Yeah, and Emily?
Last year was my first year working at the haunted house, and my first year ever with Campfire. And I helped to build, I helped scare, and I also went to Zombie Fest last year and helped there. And I also did a little bit of tear down also.
So what was the motivation for you guys to get involved with the haunted house with you last year and you really getting involved this year?
Last year I didn't before I didn't really have a lot of extracurricular activities. It was just kind of school, and that was it. And so my mom was like, okay, you need to get involved in something. And so I came to Campfire last year and started with tear down, and then, it's like, oh, I can help build a haunted house. That's pretty cool. I can scare little children.
Yep.
And what about you, Emily? What was your reason for coming out to the haunted house?
The summer before this last summer, I was with CF66, and around the end of the trip, we learned about Buckingham terror. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I told my dad. And later he told me and my sister about the first build. And we're like, yeah, let's go. So yeah, and I really like Campfire and I enjoy doing stuff with it. And I enjoy learning skills that I have learned from this.
So you know a little bit more about the background of Campfire's haunted houses. Approximately how long have they been doing the haunted houses?
I'd say about 15 to 20 years now. I don't know the exact year, but that's about it.
Yeah. Do you know anything about kind of why they started doing them or anything?
Well, this is, they started as a fundraiser, and this still continues as a fundraiser to this day. It's to help raise money for our programs that we do. We do a lot of community outreach here at Campfire.
Cool. So that's just the money from the proceeds from the admission price goes towards it?
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about the themes in the past. I've talked to a couple of the other volunteers here about them, but I think you've got a couple more years on them. So what are some of the houses that you've done?
The first year I was here, it was our anniversary haunted house, where it was this haunted, abandoned warehouse, where we pretty much stuffed all the other props and costumes from our older haunted houses into that one. Mm-hmm. The year after, I believe, was our werewolf gypsies, where we pretty much stuck 2 ideas, the haunted, scary gypsies and the scary werewolves, and mashed them together. Nice. And last year we had Red Halloween, which had the whole haunted hotel feel. We also had a bunch of creepy clowns in there.
It was a motel.
Motel, right?
Yes, it was a motel.
What state was it in again?
It was Kansas.
Yes.
In Kansas, okay. Creepy clowns are the best. Everyone hates them, but they're the best. Yeah. You've been involved for 16 years, so I imagine that you've seen kind of the development of the haunted house from when it started. You've seen it grow and you've been involved in it. How long have they been doing the haunted house? Do you recall?
16 years.
16 years. Wow.
Yes.
So just as long as you. So how have you seen it kind of like evolve from the point that you can remember?
From the point I can remember. I feel like the earliest I remember it was probably one of the last years that they actually did it inside, because they used to do it inside up in the loft upstairs. And then we ended up outgrowing that and having to move outside. So, and then it's just slowly gotten bigger and bigger outside as the years have gone by, and it's just, yeah.
Cool. So can you talk about some of the haunted houses you've been involved with in the past as far as the themes?
The first haunted house that I was involved with was the coal miner slaughter, which was in a coal mine. And then after the coal mine, oh God, what was the next one? I think it was the Season of the Wolf. And then we had Past Possessions, which was a warehouse. And last year, which was the Red Halloween. And then this year, which is the Scorched.
So do any of you guys know the background on how the first haunted house here started?
Well, actually, a group of teenagers came up to Holly, who's the board of directors here. She came up to them, and they're like, oh, let's have a haunted house. Like, we need to have a haunted house. And of course, Holly was like, that's a crazy idea. That would never work. But she ended up agreeing with it, and it started out small, like I said before, and it just started growing every year, and it turned out great. Like, when it first started, they actually geared it to, like, little kids, and then they ended up scaring them so much that we had to raise the age range.
Wow. That's a good accomplishment for a haunted house, though. That's when you know you did it right. And this year's is called, what's the title?
It's Scorched Remains.
Scorched Remains. Wow. That's intense. And the tagline?
Is All Hallows Grieve.
All Hallows Grieve. So do you guys come up with those titles and taglines, or is that?
Yeah.
We have like a series of 4 to 5 meetings every summer determining these things.
Yes. Like the theme with the rooms and the taglines and stuff like that.
Cool. And what's the theme for this year?
So a school was burned down because some of the kids were playing too much and kind of roughhousing in the boiler room, and it's kind of like set in 1937, kind of that old-timey vibe where the school had burned down, so it's an abandoned school.
Wow, okay. How do you guys go about choosing those themes? Because that's kind of an elaborate backstory.
So over the summer, we did these like meetings where we'd come from like 6 to 7:30, if I remember correctly, and we'd talk about like, you know, like haunted houses that we did in the past, as well as like Hallow Scream or Halloween Horror Nights. And then people submitted ideas, and then they chose an idea. So this was actually an idea that was submitted by 2 people, I think it was.
Wow.
I don't remember.
And then if we find different ideas that we like, we can, or if we don't like all of the, if we don't like all of the idea, then we can mix 2 different ideas together.
Okay, cool. So it's like a big team effort then. That's really cool that you guys are kind of hands-on involved with that. So what are you guys doing on the haunted house this year?
Basically the same as last year. Right now, we are currently working on the frame for this year's, which has 9 rooms, which would be our biggest haunted house for as long as I've been here.
Wow. Definitely bigger than last year's.
Because last year we only had, 4 rooms, and then the pool and the tiki.
Yeah, but last year, I feel like we have a lot more help this year than last year.
Yeah. How so? And volunteers like your age or adults or?
Well, we have a lot more, both volunteers like our age that are older teenagers, but I feel like we're a lot more organized too. We know where things are at, and last year we had Hurricane Matthew come through in the middle of the haunted house, so we had to take everything down and then put it back up.
Man. Wow.
Irma came at the beginning this time, so it was a lot better on us.
Yeah, definitely. So how long do you guys work on these haunted houses, on getting them up?
I think this year we're doing 4 days of building and decorating and stuff like that, right?
Well, 4 full days, I think,
4 full
because you can
days.
come after school anytime you want to, really, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's always open for you guys to come as you like to help, but then there's 4, how long are those days?
Yeah.
8 to 5.
8 to 5.
Yeah.
was the last one I remember, which was Saturday.
I did one on Monday that was 8 to 5 as well.
Oh, maybe that's the one I was at.
Well, yeah, you were with me, so.
Of course.
So Connor, I know that you told me off camera that you guys kind of just started building the haunted house, and it's kind of a process. You guys work up until right before you guys open usually. So what would you say is the most difficult part about building this and really pulling it together and selling it by that time?
Well, first of all, like, I think it was over like 3,000 pounds of wood.
Wow.
To make this.
That's a lot of wood.
So it's like, and like we had to like set up a frame, put the plywood on it, set up another frame, put up the plywood on it, and that's how we built this whole thing. So it was a lot of lifting and like holding things in place so people could drill it. And we actually had to build some of the frames we used.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would think like time, because last year we were really close to not finishing it on time. So time is also an issue.
That's not going to happen this year.
Yes, it won't.
I'm in charge this year.
So if Connor has anything to do with it, it's finishing on time. It'll be ready for you. So what's the biggest challenge when you're building this haunted house?
I'd have to say the heat.
Welcome to Florida.
Yep.
Is it a challenge to deal with the big pieces of wood and the power tools and everything, or is that kind of something that you enjoy doing?
I actually enjoy doing that, especially with so many people here willing to help. Definitely.
So what are your roles on the house this year? I know you said you're scaring.
This year I've been working on framing. I've been setting up the haunted house, like building it, and that's what I've done for the last few days. And I also did working on painting the boards.
Okay. Cool. So do you guys choose your roles, or are they assigned to you when you come?
When we get here, we get into groups usually, and we divide and conquer, I would say.
Cool. So you guys get to have some input on what you do then?
Actually, we gotta apply.
Oh, okay.
So before the haunted house even starts, you have to apply to be like a fright foreman, or for like the framing phase. You have to fill out an application that basically says why you want to do this, why do you think you'll be in a good role for this. So they kind of get an idea, and it's very selective.
Usually if you want to be in a higher leadership role, you can do that, but otherwise pretty much anybody can join. You don't really have to sign up.
Okay, cool. So why was it that you guys chose your particular roles this year? What was it that drew you to those ones?
Last year I worked on framing, and I was handy with the drill, and I knew how to build. So I decided that I would join it this year and also help anyone else who is new coming in to learn how to do it as well.
And any particular reason why you wanted to scare this year instead of being a foreman?
So it was mostly like, I always, as fright foreman, you kind of like dual roles. So some nights you're a fright foreman, sometimes you're scaring. Okay. So I already had that experience with scaring. It's just I kind of had to step back because of the time commitments. And
we'll be right back to learn more about Buckingham Terror right here at Campfire Sunshine, Central Florida. Stay tuned. You're watching The Buzz on PGTV.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Are you scared yet? Let's take a look at some more interviews from the kids who helped create this year's Buckingham Terror. So what are you guys doing this year with the haunted house? What's your job?
I'm a framer, which means that I help build all this stuff, and I'm also a fright foreman, which basically means I take a leadership role within the haunted house.
And just like Connor said, I'm also a framer, which is helping build, but I'm also a horde member, which I help advertise the haunted house to people. So what the horde does is like make t-shirts that advertise the haunted house and different stuff to get it around so people will come and be scared.
So Emily, you said that you were a scarer amongst other things last year, correct? Mm-hmm. So what is the process to become a scarer? Is there any sort of teaching?
Really, all you have to do is come to a meeting that there will be later, when the haunted house is almost finished, and they're going to give tactics for scaring, and then you'll go around the haunted house and in 2 different groups of the teenagers that are here and scare each other.
Nice.
So it's going to be like kind of like you learning how and then kind of scaring your friends at the same time.
Yeah, it's like a little workshop.
Yeah.
Cool. So how do you, when you're a scarer, get into a character? Like, how do you become that thing that effectively scares someone?
Put your mind into the setting and the time period of what you're scaring about, and just put yourself in there and try not to break it, and just stay like that the whole time when scaring.
And what did you do in the house last year?
Last year, I helped build it, but like during operation hours, I was a fright foreman, meaning like if I wasn't a scarer, I was handing out food and water to the scarers when we weren't really busy.
In past years, in the last 4 years, what kind of jobs have you done here?
I've never been a fright foreman, but I've been on the Horde team multiple times, and the Horde has gone from a team of specialized builders, almost, we would paint and build, to a team of, to a marketing team. So now they're a street team that tries to get the word out through social media. This is, I think, the first year I haven't done Horde. I'm not sure if I did it last year, but it's always been fun.
So have you guys been a scarer in your past years working on the haunted house?
Yes.
Because I feel like that would be a really fun job to have. Talk to me a little bit about what that's like to be a scarer.
It is a lot of fun. You get the different reactions of all different people. Well, when you scare them. Like last year, one of my favorite rooms to work in was the taxidermy room. So it was just full of wigs and other things like that. And just having people get confused on where to go within the room because there's stuff hanging everywhere, and just having them have that pure like terror when you pop out at them.
That's an accomplishment, right?
Yes.
What kind of jobs have you done in the past on the haunted house?
I've been a builder, which, build that. I've also been a scarer. And I think that's it.
Cool. Ashley, how many haunted houses have you done?
One.
Just one? So what were you doing in that one?
I was building and scaring, and I also tore it down.
Would you guys say that you are good scarers? Do you think that people were effectively scared when you were in the house? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think for sure? So what was your scenario when you were a scarer? What was your character that you had to take on?
I was an abandoned girl in a cage.
In a cage? So what did you do as that girl? How do you embody an abandoned girl?
I would jump up on the cage walls, asking them to let me out.
Wow, that sounds intense. Were you screaming at them and like really getting in their face to scare them? So what about you two? What has your scaring experience been in the past?
Most of the time, I'd be the person that would jump out. Like there'd be the distraction, and I'd be hiding somewhere, and then I'd jump out. I did that at Zombie Fest. I did that when I was in the bathroom of one of the motel rooms, and that was really fun to do because that's what gets people is when they get unexpected jumps. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. But my favorite room is probably the doll room because a lot of people are scared of dolls, and the idea that there's so many things looking at you. Then that was pretty cool.
Nice. And Jillian, what's your experience with that?
Well, I really enjoy it. Like she said, it's really fun seeing people's expressions. Once I made people scream very loudly, and they even ran out of the haunted house.
Nice. All the way out.
Yep.
That's when you know that you did a good job. What was the character that you were playing in that event?
Well, I was actually a kitchen zombie. My job was to hide behind the refrigerator and jump scare people. And it got them so bad that they did run out of the house.
So when you're a zombie, do you have full makeup and costume, or what is your visual aspect here at the campfire house?
Well, everybody gets the basic white makeup put on their face, and then sometimes they get blood put on their face. my specific character got green goop to pretend that I was eating food.
Okay.
And then each of us got different costumes with our characters. So.
And what is that like to have to become a zombie? How do you get in that mindset to properly portray that role to scare people so bad they run out of the house?
Honestly, you just have to get angry enough.
Angry. Okay. Yeah. And when you jump out, it's more than just, I'm sure.
Yes.
How do you jump in a way that scares people? I want to know, because I don't think I would be very good at scaring people. So how do you do that?
Well, there is screeching involved, and pretending to grab at them while they're walking by is definitely motivation.
Yes, absolutely. So when you say that you're a scare person in these houses particularly, what kind of scares are there? What can people expect if they're coming in here? Don't give away the secrets, but what types of scares?
Well, we've themed everything around a school in the 1930s that burnt down. So a lot of people kind of like dressed in clothes from that era, but like kind of stained so it looks like they were in a fire.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's hard to do this without giving away secrets.
Yeah, it really is.
I understand. They have to come out and see the haunted house themselves
they need
to really understand.
You guys need to come. Yeah. All right.
I have one more question for you guys. The reception from last year, I know you said you kind of got involved with Teardown. I don't know how involved you were before that, but the people who came and got scared, what was the reaction that you saw?
Well, I heard a lot of screaming.
That's always a good thing.
Yes.
Under these circumstances.
Yes, under these, only under these ones.
You will be petrified.
It was just like normal haunted house reactions.
Yeah. So people liked it though?
Yeah, and there were a few people that just went through not getting scared at all.
Wow.
So, because some people are like that where they don't get scared easily.
Right.
They need to have more fun.
Yeah. But I'm one of those people.
You need to have more fun.
You need to have more fun.
Connor!
Do you have any favorite memories that stand out to you from previous haunted houses? Maybe you scared somebody really good, or maybe they scared you. I don't know.
So it's actually not like a memory like I remember, but it's one that I heard about, like someone scared someone so badly, like they kind of wet themselves and they said, "Stop, I gotta watch," and then they just walked away, and it was a girl, so she was like, "I gotta squat right now," and she finished right there and there, and then and it was the beginning too, so it was really awkward.
That's hilarious. Can you top that?
Not really.
So when you guys have worked on haunted houses in the past, I know neither of you really said that you were scarers in previous years, but just from seeing people come out of these houses, what is the reaction? What do you normally see? What's the general consensus?
When I was on the nights where I was a fright foreman, I would see people come out and they would be laughing.
That's good.
So I'm like, okay, they're laughing. They must have had a good time.
Exactly.
And then there'd be some nights where I'd be the scarer, and I was horrible at that.
Oh no. So tell me, there's got to be some crazy stuff that happens in this haunted house. What is the craziest thing you've seen?
Not necessarily the thing that I've seen, but my friend, he once made a grown man so scared that he peed his pants.
Really?
Yeah, he seemed pretty serious about the story. He may have just spilled something on his pants, but it looked pretty bad when I saw the guy walk out of the haunted house.
So what about the two of you? Do you have any like fond memories of being a scarer? Anything that stuck out?
Last year, I was in the doll room, and that was right next to the clown room.
Oh no.
So, I was a doll in the doll room, and I was one of the top scarers, and yeah, it was just super fun. Like, I would hide in like the closet and just scare people, and they wouldn't even like come in my room because they were scared.
Wow. Any fond memories for you?
Last year, my favorite room was the laundry room. I worked in it almost every day. And my favorite part of it was just hiding against the wall, and then they'd walk by me, and when they were like halfway through the room, I'd just start slamming on the tin that was like making the wall, and people would like scream and run.
So.
What's the craziest thing that you guys have seen happen in the haunted house, either with a scare actor or with someone passing through?
Well, there was this one scarer. He had a chainsaw, and he actually powered it on and pretended to chop up people.
Wow. And what was the reaction to that? Naturally, terror?
Yes.
Yeah. So what about you two? Do you have any stories about something that stands out to you that maybe someone's reaction was really intense or dramatic?
I would have to say the clown with the chainsaw last year. He would jump out and pretend to turn on the chainsaw, and people would run out of the area.
There's something about a clown for anybody that makes people run. So with a chainsaw, it's just...
Because it was like, that was like the year when all the clowns started showing up around like the cities and like the United States, so the clowns was like extra scary, but then chainsaw just made it even worse.
Of course.
I remember like he wouldn't just scare the guests of the haunted house, he'd actually scare the people working the haunted house too. And that was actually pretty fun because like as like a fright from like I had to go check on people like in the rooms, right? And then I had to go there and then they tried to like scare you. So that was like, okay.
Did it work?
Like not so much with me, like not to like sound full of myself, but
too tough for that.
Yeah. No, once I like know something's not real, I find it like a little bit more hard to get scared.
Gotcha. So I've heard that you guys have some rewards that come with volunteering here. Tell me about that.
One of the rewards is being able to go to Hallow Scream. And when we go to Hallow Scream, when we go through the haunted houses, we just focus on what's around us and how they built it and how they set it up. And when we come out of each house, we just reflect on what we saw, and that goes towards our ideas for the haunted house.
That's neat. So it's like a learning experience. Most people
yes.
don't go there to learn.
Yes.
That's
and
cool.
we have fun at the same time.
Yeah, of course. So what is your turnout like usually from year to year? Do you guys have a lot of people come out for this?
Yes, we do. Like especially on Halloween night, that's one of our biggest nights.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. And what would you say to somebody who maybe hasn't heard of your haunted house before and they want something to do for Halloween? What would you say to get them out here to experience it for the first time?
I would say it's really scary. Like I've had people run into walls because they were trying to get away from me. Like one time the wall almost came down. Oh, no. Yeah.
I would tell them that it's like a good experience to like just do it because it's really fun and it's a lot better than trick-or-treating.
True. Yeah.
I would probably say like it's like really fun and entertaining, and even like if you haven't heard of the haunted house, like you could always like come help and then participate in it, which is like even more fun. So yeah, it's really fun.
So it's clear that everyone who's volunteering with this has a lot of fun doing it, and it sounds like the people who come to see it have a lot of fun doing it. How do you guys feel that having a haunted house in the community kind of brings the community together? Do you feel like it's doing something positive for the community having it here?
Definitely, because it brings like all sorts of people together. It's not just like one group of like individuals. It's all sorts of different people, different types of people, different personalities all come together and get to know each other. And it's like you're like joining a little family when you come to Campfire, honestly. Like you make new friends, you meet new people, you get to make some great memories and things that you never thought you'd do before, like building a haunted house. So it's a good opportunity, definitely.
So if someone hasn't been to a Campfire haunted house and they heard about it this year, what would you say to them to encourage them to come out and experience it for the first time?
Get ready to be scared.
Get ready to be scared. That's a good motivation. Well, that's all the time that we have for this month. If you'd like more information on the Buckingham Terror Haunted House, you can visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/Buckingham Terror. Stay safe and have a spooky Halloween.